headlines of this hour on VTV News. Chinese Premier begins official visit to Vietnam. And later on, challenges remain in heritage digitization.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is currently 8 a.m. local time and you're tuning in to 15 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lin Lei with the latest updates. Now, Party General Secretary and State President Tho Lam held a meeting with visiting Chinese Premier Liang on Saturday evening in Hanoi. More to follow.
At the meeting, Party General Secretary and State President Tho Lam emphasized the significant importance of Premier Liang's visit in developing bilateral relations. He stated that Vietnam considers developing ties with China a top priority in its foreign policy. Chinese Premier Liang, in turn, stressed that China views the development of relations with Vietnam as a priority in its neighborhood diplomacy. The two sides agreed to boost bilateral cooperation in several areas: national defense, security, external relations, and response to non-traditional security challenges. They also committed to promoting economic and trade cooperation, ensuring smooth border trade, developing smart border gates, and enhancing the connection between the two corridors One Belt framework and the Belt and Road Initiative. The top Vietnamese leader expressed Vietnam's willingness to welcome and provide favorable conditions for Chinese enterprises investing in large-scale, advanced technology projects in the country. In response, the Chinese premier pledged to further open China's market to Vietnamese agricultural products and support Vietnam in establishing trade promotion offices within China. The two sides also pledged to expand cooperation in science and technology, manufacturing supply chains, green development, and digital transformation. With the 75th anniversary of their diplomatic relations approaching next year, they agreed to jointly launch various activities and aim to elevate bilateral relations to a new stage of development. Both sides agreed on the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the East Sea. The Vietnamese leader proposed that both countries strictly adhere to high-level common understandings, direct relevant authorities to actively seek effective methods to manage and resolve disagreements, and enhance cooperation in line with their bilateral ties based on international law.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính hosted an official welcome ceremony in Hanoi on Sunday for Chinese Premier Liang, who is on a 3-day official visit to Vietnam. Following the ceremony, the two leaders held important talks.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính warmly welcomed Premier Liang's official visit to Vietnam. He expressed confidence that the visit would be successful, further advancing bilateral relations. The Vietnamese leader affirmed that Vietnam considers its friendship and cooperation with China a strategic choice and top priority in its foreign policy. Premier Liang stated that China always regards Vietnam as a priority in its neighborhood diplomacy. The two sides agreed to effectively implement the common perceptions reached by their senior leaders, continue consolidating political trust, and maintain regular meetings at all levels. The two leaders agreed to promote cooperation mechanisms, foster collaboration in key areas, enhance people-to-people exchanges, and cooperate in land border management. The Vietnamese Prime Minister proposed expediting procedures to open a Vietnamese consulate general in Chongqing and requested support for establishing Vietnamese trade promotion offices in Haikou, Chengdu, and Nanjing. He advocated for improved customs clearance efficiency at border gates, enhanced connectivity through smart customs, and the introduction of new bilateral cross-border economic cooperation models. He also called for collaboration to effectively implement signed railway cooperation agreements and to further cooperation in various fields. The Chinese premier pledged that China would further open its doors to Vietnamese goods and coordinate efforts to streamline quarantine and customs procedures. The two sides exchanged sincere and frank views on maritime issues. They agreed to continue strictly implementing the high-level common perceptions and the agreement on basic principles guiding the resolution of maritime issues between Vietnam and China. The Chinese premier suggested the two nations enhance strategic connectivity, promote cooperation in economy, trade, and investment, and expand financial and monetary collaboration. At the end of the talks, the two leaders witnessed the exchange of 10 cooperation documents in various sectors.
On October 13th, Prime Minister Pham Minh and Chinese Premier Liang attended a business workshop in Hanoi, urging stronger economic ties and sustainable development between their countries. They discussed cooperation in infrastructure, the digital economy, and energy, with Chinese business showing interest in Vietnam's development projects. Prime Minister Pham Minh emphasized the need for both governments to facilitate business connections and create a stable environment for investment, while also encouraging Vietnamese companies to engage with their Chinese counterparts. Premier Liang affirmed the importance of aligning development strategies and enhancing cooperation in areas such as clean energy and electric vehicles. Both leaders expressed confidence in their future of bilateral trade and cooperation, urging businesses to leverage their strengths for mutual benefit. Also on October the 13th, Vietnamese National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn met Chinese Premier Liang in Hanoi during the Premier's three-day official visit. The National Assembly Chairman praised the visit as a significant milestone in bilateral relations and emphasized the goal of building a community with a shared future. The two leaders discussed enhancing political trust and economic collaboration, as well as improving infrastructure connectivity. National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn highlighted the importance of resolving marine disputes peacefully and in accordance with international law. Chinese Premier Liang expressed support for these initiatives and stressed the need for regular strategic exchanges between their countries. At the meeting's conclusion, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn invited Chinese Premier Liang to convey an invitation to Zhao Leji, Chairman of the National People's Congress, for an official visit to Vietnam to co-chair the first meeting of the Vietnam-China Inter-Parliamentary Cooperation Mechanism. On the morning of October the 13th, Premier Liang and a Chinese-ranking Chinese delegation laid a wreath in tribute to President Ho Chi Minh at the late leader's mausoleum in Hanoi as part of his three-day official visit to Vietnam. Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Bùi Thanh Sơn joined the delegation. The Chinese leader laid the wreath in memory of President Ho Chi Minh, a hero of national liberation and a great cultural figure of Vietnam. This visit marks Premier Liang's first official trip to Vietnam in his new position and the first by a Chinese premier in over 11 years. It demonstrates the importance of the Chinese party and state, as well as the premier himself, attached to bilateral relations. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Now, the General Statistics Office of Vietnam reports a rapid increase in labor demand as businesses boost production, leading to higher average incomes for workers, especially during Tết or Lunar New Year. In Hanoi, the Employment Service Center forecasts strong hiring in services and trade, particularly in supermarkets and restaurants, followed by manufacturing and IT. There's also a growing demand for highly skilled workers. Ho Chi Minh City needs over 80,000 workers in the fourth quarter to support production, particularly in tech, services, administration, and real estate, with a focus on specialized skills in IT, accounting, and marketing. In recent years, the policy of sending workers abroad has proven effective, with more Khmer individuals seeking international job opportunities. Since its inception, Chavang Province has sent about 5,000 workers overseas. Although this number is modest compared to other regions, the results have been positive.
After 2 months of studying Japanese, Led acquired basic communication skills and gained essential knowledge about his future workplace. This thorough preparation has instilled confidence in him and his fellow students, making them feel ready to succeed in their new work environment.
I'm learning more about Japanese culture, laws, and lifestyle so I can better prepare to work in Japan.
According to Trà Vinh provincial authorities, each worker can send home $9,700 per year, a substantial sum for those in rural and ethnic areas. By the end of the third quarter, the province has sent over 1,800 people abroad, double the number of last year, with more than 50% being Khmer.
Non-refundable support for poor, near poor, and ethnic households, as well as those whose agricultural land has been recovered, is about $700 each. Individuals working abroad receive loan support of over $6,000.
After 2 years in Japan, Nguyen returned to Vietnam and secured a stable job. Leveraging the knowledge and language skills she acquired abroad, she completed a course to become a Japanese teacher.
I realized that if I didn't learn anything during my 3 years working abroad, I'd still be a factory worker when I returned. So I decided to invest in learning Japanese.
Initiatives and practical policies has led to an increase in the number of workers from Trà Vinh province seeking employment abroad. Developing a skilled labor force can contribute to their homeland upon return.
Vietnam boasts a rich cultural heritage, including over 40,000 inventoried relics, nearly 4 million museum artifacts, hundreds of national treasures, and more than 8,000 festivals. To support creative economic development, this vast heritage data will undergo gradual digitization. However, the process faces significant challenges related to facilities, mechanisms, and human resources.
The Department of Cultural Heritage manages 5 large heritage data warehouses, but only 5% of their contents have been digitized. With funding approved for a project to develop a platform and database for managing and promoting cultural heritage from 2021 to 2025, the department must digitize the remaining 95% of data and incorporate additional information within the next year.
Managing such a large volume of data poses significant challenges for us and our coordinating units.
Many localities are eager to undertake this work, but they lack clear guidelines for funding and budgeting.
The lack of technical and economic standards for digitization in central libraries and museums poses significant challenges for localities like ours.
Furthermore, there is a lack of both a legal framework for public-private cooperation in this field and a unified system of standards for digitizing heritage data.
Tech companies in the private sector want to collaborate, but the lack of data sharing regulations limits profit potential. To encourage partnerships, more suitable regulations or incentives are necessary.
We will divide the implementation roadmap to optimize resources for heritage digitization.
The goal is to fully digitize heritage data by 2030, leaving 6 years for this substantial undertaking.
To meet tourist demand, Quảng Ninh province has decided to extend visiting hours for Hạ Long Bay and Bái Tử Long Bay starting October 20th this year. From April the 1st to October the 31st, daytime tour boats will depart at 5 a.m. and return by 8 p.m., an extension from the current schedule of 6 a.m. departures and 7 p.m. returns. In winter, from November the 1st to March the 31st, boats will leave at 5:30 a.m. and must return by 7 p.m., with restaurant boats allowed to return by 11 p.m. These rules do not apply to boats without passengers. Up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast. And that is all for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app, VTVgo, for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.